Hey everyone, it's Jason and this is your midweek cruise news update. And a Carnival passenger is suing them over donkeys, and Royal Caribbean has a nightmare situation unfolding that's going to personally make me think about checking under my bed every time I come into the cabin. So cruise story number one, and this is a nightmare situation for Royal Caribbean and potentially some of its past passengers, as a cabin attendant on the Symphony of the Seas, Joseph Marisol, was charged with 6 counts of voyagerism in Broward County. That's Fort Lauderdale. Also on the state level, he's being charged with child pornography, the production and possession of it. So the way this unfolded was, this past week, a passenger that was in one of his cabins found his recording device in their stateroom bathroom. They called guest services, who called security, and security placed Joseph Marisol under lockdown until they could get back to Fort Lauderdale and hand him over to the police there. Now this is a sickening story, but unfortunately it gets worse. As they were interviewing him, he admitted to everything. And he also admitted that when people were in their showers, he would enter their staterooms and get underneath their beds and record them with his phone when they came out of the bathroom. How sickening. Now, it made me think, maybe all of us, including ourselves, are a little too complacent when we're on cruise ships. Because when we're in hotels, we bring all kinds of locks and extra locking devices for the door. And we also bring this wedge right here. It's a doorstop. So when the door opens and this thing's activated, it has a loud siren. And that is, moving forward, going to start going in my baggage. We're taking that with us. Because when your door's locked and the deadbolt's locked, no one should be coming into your cabin unless it's a medical emergency. So if someone would open that door and you'd have that in your doorway, you're going to hear it in your bathroom. You're going to hear it all over the place, probably 150 to 200 feet away. So I'll put a link to it in my description. This has been going on since December of 2023. So if you had Joseph Marisol and you were on the Symphony of the Seas as your stateroom attendant, look, I'm no attorney or anything like that, but I'd want to know more details. And obviously, I'm not trying to give you legal advice, but you may want to get an attorney and look deeper into this. So cruise story number 2, and another lesson to all of us, not only to have travel insurance, but to understand what our coverage limits are. So there was a young lady, she's on her first cruise on Norwegian, and she's pregnant. Day 3, she said she's feeling a little under the weather, went to the medical facility, and she tested positive for COVID. They wanted to do some additional testing to make sure her and her baby were okay. And they are. Well, she goes to isolation back to her cabin, and she said she received a bill the next day for over $6,000. She said her credit card already declined it. She was freaking out. She doesn't know how to pay it. She's like, am I going to be criminally charged? And everyone was like, slow down. You're going to be fine. Because you'll basically be given a note, something that you'll have to sign, that you understand that you're in debt to the cruise line. And yes, they'll allow you to disembark the ship. The great thing about it is she does have travel insurance and medical insurance. So she will be covered there. And I believe I was reading through it, she said she had $20,000 in medical insurance. We have no idea what the cruise lines charge in their medical facilities. That's why we always get $50,000 per person in medical insurance and $500,000 for medical evacuation. Now, I'm not saying that's what you should get. Obviously, you have to evaluate your needs, but that's what we do. And we also buy, because I know I'm going to be asked this, yearly insurance, because we cruise more than 2 times a year. Just make sure you understand your limits. I would hate for someone to buy travel insurance, have $5,000. I've seen it as low, especially on some of the cheaper policies, $2,500 in medical insurance and $50,000 in medical evacuation. A lot of times that won't even come close to cutting it. So make sure you understand your coverage limits when you buy travel insurance. So before I get to cruise story number 3, I would ask that you like this video, as it does help the channel grow. Also, consider subscribing as I do daily cruise news shorts and tips and tricks. I also do longer cruise videos on Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays at 8 a.m. Thanks so much. So cruise story number 3, and I'm going to need your opinion on this one because it has the internet divided, and I think surprisingly so. Who's at fault? Is it Carnival Corporation or is it the passenger? So what happened was a passenger got off his cruise ship in Grand Turk. It was a Carnival ship. And he was in the terminal area in Grand Turk, which is owned and operated by Carnival Corporation. And he saw a wild donkey. And he decided that it would be the smart thing to do is walk up to the wild donkey to get a picture with it. And it kicked him in the knee. And it broke his kneecap. He's had to have multiple surgeries on his kneecap. So the question is who do you think is responsible for this? Now, they feel it's Carnival, as they're suing Carnival Corporation, and they're claiming that they're negligent because there's no signs up warning passengers that these donkeys could be aggressive, and they shouldn't be in the terminal area. Now, if you've been to Grand Turk, it's kind of a wide open area, so it's kind of hard to stop. Also, they said that this is not the first incident of this happening. Now, I follow cruise news. I've never seen anything where a donkey's attacked a cruise ship passenger or anybody before in Grand Turk, or I would have reported on it. So that's a little bit debatable. So who do you think's at fault here? Now, what's interesting is the surveys or satisfaction surveys for Grand Turk have gone down recently. And there's 3 main things that people talked about was the crime, the dogs, wild dogs, and the donkeys. So they must be an issue there. Now, I don't remember them as much when I was there a few years ago, but if you've been to Grand Turk, what do you think about these donkeys? Were they just a menace? Let me know what you think. And if you're visiting Grand Turk for the first time, for goodness sakes, don't go up to the donkeys and try to get pictures with them. So I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much for the support. And until I talk to you on Saturday, happy cruising.